To understand something fully, we have to probe down to molecular level. Welcome back to another video on my channel, Explore with Ahmeduddin. Today we will inspect in depth what coronavirus does once inside the human body. A quick recap to the structure of COVID-19. It is a retrovirus, meaning its genetic material is made of RNA. It is covered by a protein coat. It has spike proteins sticking out of its outer surface, and these are unique to all COVID-19s. Coronavirus can be transmitted from an infected person to a non-infected person in aerosol droplets by coughing and sneezing. The incubation period of the virus is 14 days, meaning a person may have the virus and yet show no symptoms up to 14 days, but making him a potential vector. Subsequently, if an infected person has touched his or her mouth or nose and then shakes hands with you, they transfer some of the virus to your hand. If you then touch your mouth or nose without washing your hands first, you may accidentally give the virus an entry point to your own body. The same goes with contaminated surfaces. The type of surface, the temperature of the room, and the humidity in the environment may play a role in how long the virus can survive on surfaces. Research explains that the virus may survive on copper for up to 4 hours, on cardboard for up to 24 hours, and on plastic and steel for up to 72 hours. New reports also reveal that coronavirus is airborne, and inhaling the infected aerosol droplets may kick off the infection. With that said and discussed, let's examine what happens when a COVID-19 virus molecule enters the human body. The pathway that the virus chooses is called the respiratory tract. The virus goes down the trachea, through the bronchi and bronchioles, and ultimately reaching the alveolus, which is its target site. The virus enters the alveolus through distal airway and then proceeds to attack a particular specialized cell in the alveolus called type 2 cell. Let's zoom in to explore how the virus attacks the type 2 cell. Over here in picture A, we have zoomed to the point where the virus is placed just outside the boundaries of the type 2 cell. If you remember, the virus has specific spike proteins sticking out of it. Now, as you can see, the shape of the spike protein is complementary to the shape of the ACE2 receptor on the cell. Let's say that the ACE2 receptor is a gate of the cell, and the spike protein on the virus is a key. So when the spike protein binds with ACE2, it unlocks the gate and goes inside the cell, as shown in figure C. Once inside the cell, as discussed in my previous video, the virus converts its RNA into DNA and then hijacks the body's ribosomes to construct its own viral proteins. A ribosome is a factory inside a cell where protein is synthesized. The virus does not stop here. It also uses the cell's genetic material duplicators called RNA polymerase to make more copies of its genetic material. In the end, the virus combines viral proteins and viral RNA to create more coronaviruses, and this is how the virus reproduces and increases in number. The hijacked type 2 cell gradually starts to destruct. During this process, the cell sends out an SOS signal to the body's defense system for help. A certain type of white blood cell, called macrophage, responds to the distress signal and arrives at the scene. After analyzing the situation, the macrophages release signaling molecules called cytokines. The cytokines diffuse out of the alveoli, through the endothelial cells of the capillary, and into the blood plasma, reaching out for help. Now this is when the problems begin. When cytokines diffuse through endothelial walls of the capillary, they cause the smooth muscles in the walls to slightly expand. This increases the permeability of the wall. As a result, blood plasma leaks out of the capillaries and accumulates in the region around the alveoli. Since the content of blood plasma is high in water, water enters the alveolus by osmosis. This reduces surface tension inside the alveolus. The water exerts pressure against the walls of the alveoli and then blasts the alveoli burst. Let me remind you that alveoli are solely responsible for gas exchange, which means losing them decreases rate of gas exchange. This may lead to hypoxia, which is a condition in which the body is deprived of adequate oxygen supply. Nevertheless, in an involuntary action, the lungs start breathing faster to satisfy the oxygen depth. So symptom number 1 for COVID-19, faster breathing. Up till now, this scenario depicts that of emphysema, which is a chronic disease caused by smoking, wherein alveoli burst similarly. My point is, smokers are 14 times more likely to contract coronavirus, so now might be the time to quit. Cytokines released by macrophages also stimulate the hypothalamus in the central nervous system to secrete hormones which stimulate an increase in body temperature, which leads to fever. So symptom number 2, increased body temperature and fever. Furthermore, the decrease in partial pressure of oxygen leads to increased heart rate, so increased beats per minute are another symptom. In critical cases, when the virus spreads throughout the body, it can invade other vital organs such as the liver, kidneys, and heart, leading to multi-system failure and eventually death. Allow me to recap the 4 major symptoms of coronavirus: faster breathing rate, high body temperature and fever, increased heart rate, increased blood pressure. And now you know the complete story behind each symptom. With that, I conclude my presentation and I hope you find it helpful. For more interesting research-based videos, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Ahmeduddin Siddiqui, and that's all from me today. Stay home, stay safe.